20 years, Tracy. 20 years, and what do you have to show for it? No career, no money, no future.
Stop. Please. Don't do this to our family. I gave you everything.
You are nothing without me. You have always been nothing. And when I walk out this door, you will have nothing. Because that is exactly what you deserve.
Please.
Goodbye, Tracy. You will be hearing from my attorney very soon.
Just like that, 20 years was over. He emptied every account, took the house, walked straight into another woman's arms, and never looked back.
Hey, baby, we can go now. Everything's sorted.
What Shannon never expected was what I did next in a motel room. $200, a secondhand laptop, and a decision that would bring that man to his knees. Shannon found out in a courtroom.
Hey Stories Hub family, welcome back. This story is hitting home for so many of you. Loyalty is expensive, and some people aren't willing to pay for it. Have you ever realized someone was living a lie the moment you went broke? Tell me your story in the comments. I'm reading every one of them.
I want you to picture something. A house in Columbus, Ohio. 2 stories. A garden out front that I planted myself, tulips in the spring, sunflowers in the summer. A kitchen that always smelled like something warm. 2 kids doing homework at the dining table while their dad watched soccer in the next room, and their mom, that was me, held every single piece of it together with both hands. From the outside, it looked perfect. And for a long time, I believed it was, my name is Tracy, and for 20 years, I was the kind of wife that other women pointed to and said, she's the good one. I gave up my career ambitions when our son was born so Shannon could focus on growing his contracting business. I managed the household, raised our children, stretched every dollar during the tight years, and never not once made Shannon feel guilty for the sacrifices I was quietly making every single day. I loved that man completely, unconditionally. The way you only love someone when you have built an entire life around them. What I didn't know was that while I was busy loving him, he was busy planning his escape. And before I tell you what happened next, I need you to stay with me. Because what Shannon did, it gets worse before it gets better, but I promise you it gets so much better. It started with small things I told myself meant nothing. Late nights blamed on job sites running over schedule. A second phone, he said, was strictly for client calls. Weekend trips for business that came with vague details and shorter explanations every time I asked. I noticed all of it. A woman always notices. But I trusted him. 20 years of marriage had taught me to trust him. So every time a question surfaced, I pushed it back down and got back to the business of holding our family together. Then came the Tuesday in March that changed everything. I pulled up to a Kroger supermarket parking lot to withdraw money for our daughter's car insurance, typed in my PIN, waited, and then the screen returned a message
Insufficient
that
funds.
made my blood run cold. Insufficient
What am I going to
funds.
do now?
I stood at that ATM in the middle of a gray Ohio afternoon, wind cutting straight through my coat, staring at a balance of $11.42. After 20 years, I called Shannon, no answer. Called again, voicemail. By the time I drove home, my hands were shaking on the steering wheel.
I
not
can't
from the
believe this is
cold,
happening.
But from something deeper, something that felt like the ground slowly dissolving beneath my feet, 1 inch at a time. That evening, Shannon came home
You're
and did
finally
something he
home.
hadn't done in months.
I'm sorry, I'm
Shannon
late.
walked in that evening
was
without
getting
kissing me.
I didn't mean to
He
worry
sat
you.
down at the dining
talk to
chair,
me.
not the couch, not his office. The dining chair, like whatever he was carrying, needed to be said somewhere that still felt like us. He loosened his shirt button slowly, like a man carrying something too heavy for his shoulders. I watched him from across the table, the same table where we'd celebrated birthdays, helped the kids with homework, shared 1,000 ordinary evenings. Something in my stomach dropped before he even opened his mouth.
Tracy, I need to tell you something. I've been trying to protect you, but I can't hold this anymore. The business is gone. We're filing for bankruptcy.
I felt the air leave my lungs. My fingers curled around my coffee mug, not to drink, just to hold on to something solid.
Honey, how long have you known this?
I stared at the side of his face, the face I had kissed good morning for 20 years, and instead of anger, all I felt was the desperate need to fix it.
Hey, look at me. We are a team, Shannon. We have always tagged. We got theorisai. I am not going anywhere. I promise you that.
Shannon finally looked up. His eyes were dry. He nodded slowly, said nothing. And something about that silence, I just couldn't read it yet. I held his hand that night and cried myself to sleep, thinking about how we were going to rebuild. I was already making lists in my head. Budget cuts, job applications, ways to stretch what little we had left. I had no idea the bankruptcy was a lie. Every single dollar of it, carefully hidden, deliberately moved, legally restructured by attorneys Shannon had been paying for months. While I was lying awake planning our comeback, he was already gone. 2 weeks later, divorce papers arrived at my front door. A Thursday morning, my daughter still asleep upstairs. Me in my housecoat holding documents that told me my husband of 20 years was not just leaving, he was taking everything. The house, primary custody claims, assets I didn't even know existed under company names I had never heard of. Shannon didn't lose the business, he hid it. And while I was home raising his children and keeping his household running, he was building an exit with Jade.
Hey, baby, we can go now.
He had been seeing for over 2 years behind my back. 2 years. The courts moved fast. Shannon had better lawyers. Shannon had hidden money. Shannon had a narrative that I was a dependent housewife with no income and no stability. And with all of it, he walked away with our house. 30 days to vacate, the garden I had planted, the walls I had painted, the home I had built with my own 2 hands.
Honey,
the 30 days were brutal.
I can't do this.
Every morning I woke up and packed,
okay, come here.
room by room,
Sorry, Mom.
box by box, my son carried without being asked. My daughter cried through most of it. And somewhere in the middle of it all, standing in that hallway, surrounded by the bones of a life I hadn't chosen to dismantle, I picked up my phone and called my sister Renee. She lives in Pittsburgh, about 2 hours east of Columbus, and she has been the one constant in my life that
Hello,
Shannon
are you
could never
there?
touch. When she picked up, I didn't even say hello. I just started talking. Being Renee, she didn't interrupt once. She just listened to every single word
Okay,
until I
let's
ran
get
out
these
of
in.
them. We loaded
Got it, Mom.
everything into my car.
Careful with
20
that one.
years packed into the back of
Where
a
should I put
SUV.
this?
I drove to the motel with my kids, room 112, and told myself I could handle it alone. True to her word, Renee pulled into that parking lot before sundown.
They think taking your money takes your power. They forget you're the one who built the empire in the first place. If you've ever been underestimated, take story chant. Watch the next few minutes then. Shannon's biggest mistake is about to go public.
She didn't inspect the room or make a face about it. She
It's okay,
just
sweetie,
came
I'm here.
inside, kicked off her shoes, and stayed.
Just breathe.
She
I'm right
held
here.
my daughter while she cried.
We'll get.
She sat with my son in silence the way adults do when words aren't enough. And late that night, when the kids were finally asleep, she looked at me across that small room and kept her voice low.
Tracy, come home with me in the morning. You and the kids. Pittsburgh is 2 hours away. Can breathe, Thoof. You can figure this out about it from somewhere safe.
Take them. Keep them safe. But this fight, this one is mine.
I looked at my kids sleeping, then back at Renee. Renee searched my face for a crack. She didn't find one. She pulled me into a long, tight hug, the kind only sisters give, and let it go. The next morning, I walked my kids out to Renee's SUV, holding on to every last second before I had to let them go.
Pittsburgh is one phone call away, Mom. We are not going anywhere.
My daughter held my face in her hands before she got in, My son just held me, long and silent, then they were gone.